about the travel market and how people consumed content in that market and where we could fit in and take advantage of that opportunity. So we put together a venture to do that.
All right, this is another episode of the Form Your Own Pack podcast. My guest today is Stacey Book from Frequency Machine. How are you doing, Stacey?
Very well, thank you.
All right, so for people that don't know, who is Stacey Book?
So I am a content producer first and foremost. I come from the world of film and television and worked in TV for a long time, and was an exec and a showrunner and things like that. And then I built a lot of content in the tech space. And a couple of us that came from that project, which was called Detour. Detour was an audio first travel product, essentially. We went on to, after that company was acquired, we went on to found Frequency Machine to continue to do that kind of work and do it in audio first. And we felt like we had gained a lot of really good insight about the travel market and how people consumed content in that market and where we could fit in and take advantage of that opportunity. So we put together a venture to do that.
Amazing. All right, so Frequency Machine is focused on creating original content. Is it primarily around travel?
Yeah, so right now we have a big project called Circa, which is an app. It's CERCA is how you spell it. And that is a specific app for travel content. And it really is starting to function now as a platform. So it is original content that we built, plus content that we're bringing in from third parties who also produce at a high level in this space. And then we're going to start adding some really interesting features to that. And fundamentally, what we're trying to do is help you plan a better trip by connecting you to people in the place where you want to go. So the content that we produce and a lot of the content that we're bringing on is all really centered on people telling stories and people giving you information and insight on the ground where they are. So we've built a lot of things that sort of function as guides. In fact, we even call them Circa guides. So you can listen to episodes from London or Barcelona or Mexico City or Hawaii, Los Angeles, and they all have, story-based information about the place that you're going, whether it's food or style or true crime, which we do some of, how the how the murders of Los Angeles have shaped the city, and really it kind of gives you this a better understanding of the place that you're going to, and a way to empathize with the people who are there, who live there. And so to that, we're going to add a feature that actually then connects you directly to people where you're going, and you can have a conversation with somebody in Barcelona about planning your trip, or you just need a coffee shop, or you need a restaurant recommendation, or you need to know where to take your kids, or what bar to go to, or anything like that. And that becomes really what that fundamentally becomes, is this two-sided marketplace that looks a little bit like Uber for travel. So you're the person in Barcelona who's a gig worker in tourism. You give tours, you drive a cab, you work in a restaurant, whatever. You can answer questions on this platform for people from all over the world, and everybody gets to participate and share in that kind of information exchange. But you fundamentally are getting your questions answered by a friend anywhere in the world.
Amazing. Well, someone who's traveled an extensive amount this year, including twice to Rome, Dublin, London, I probably could have used that.
Yeah, exactly,
Back
right?
from Miami, I'm sure you have some content for Miami. And it's interesting because this seems to be a real trend. Like I'm seeing in the e-commerce space and in certain markets where there's almost like a live video component or storytelling that leads to a commerce transaction. So what is the actual revenue model for you guys? Is it for bookings, or how do you guys envision making money?
Yeah, what's nice about this is eventually we will have revenue streams coming from lots of different places. So there'll be a subscription model, there'll be an ad revenue model because a lot of our content is distributed via RSS on an ad revenue model platform. And there will be, click through to booking eventually. There will be all kinds of integrations with various types of e-commerce. So it's there's a lot of different ways that you monetize this as you go. Initially, it will be subscription.
And then is all the content, is it user generated content, or are you guys creating this from scratch?
So we're creating a lot of it from scratch, similar to Masterclass in that way.
Great.
Where we come from a really high level producing background in film and TV. We wanted to carry that across and really make sure that what we're doing, clears a certain bar. And we have projects that actually are outside of travel that are, similarly in that space where we create and tell stories that that really have a very high production value and a really high level of storytelling, and we want to carry that over as well into travel, because I think if you do it really well, then it's fantastic, it's entertaining, it's informative, it's a whole world onto itself, and that doesn't really exist, it especially doesn't exist for audio. So that's initially how we're operating, but because we're also a platform, we're inviting on certain third-party shows that also kind of clear that bar in terms of quality. So you'll see some shows from the magazine Afar that will be featured on the platform. Those are kind of similarly very high-level storytelling, really thoughtful and engaging, and really provide that value.
And you said audio, so is it like podcast type content, or is it also video?
Exactly. Yeah, it's podcast initially. There will be video down the line, but we're starting with audio because that's an opportunity space that is available.
Very interesting. Okay, and what stage is the company at?
So we're, still seed stage. We're building this product. It's out there in beta for iOS, but we've got a lot more to build. So that's where we are at the moment.
And then I think you said you're doing some sort of crowdfunding on Republic.
We are, yeah, we're crowdfunding on Republic. We've taken a couple of small rounds of seed stage investment, and we have some revenue, of course, because we do these other projects. So we're not relying entirely on the raise in order to build what we're building.
It's kind of like, you see this a lot with like on the creative side or marketing side agencies, and they'll do the agency work, but then they'll fund their SaaS product. So it sounds kind of like you're trying to
right, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we do sort of have a lot of that in common, right? We've got a lot of sort of agency components to us because we do branded content, we do work for hire kind of stuff as well.
Amazing. All right. If you had only one piece of advice for other founders, what would that be?
Only one. Oh man. Oh, it's so hard. A lot of people say, hire very thoughtfully, but of course that feels obvious, right? Of course you should hire thoughtfully. I think really, honestly, it's learn how to be a really, really good communicator.
Okay.
It is a skill set that's, I think, really undervalued. And I find myself, I have to practice it all the time. But if you communicate your goals and where you're seeing problems and allow the people that you're working with to do the same thing, you're going to work so much more efficiently, and you're going to sidestep a lot of really big chasms that you would otherwise fall into.
That is great advice. What role have partnerships or community played in your success so far?
Partnerships are really important to us, and we are, as a team, we're really collaborative, and so we love to work with other people and to build things together. And in content, when you're building good content, and especially narrative content, you need to work with other people, and you need to get everybody's voices heard, and use resources and share and things like that. So I mean, we've worked with Vox Media, we've worked with Headspace, we're working with Warner Brothers right now, we've worked with Audible. I mean, we worked with a lot of different companies, a lot of different partners, And we've got a couple of other publishers that we're working with at the moment that are fantastic. And you just, the world opens up for you when you're able to do that. As well as, right, you're looking at help financing big expensive projects, and content is expensive. Yeah.
That makes sense. All right, so
Yeah.
we're really excited to follow you in your journey. How do people
Yeah.
get in touch with you?
So you can reach out via either the Circa Travel website or the Frequency Machine website, or you can get me at Stacey at frequencymachine.com. And we're on, of course, all the social, certain Instagram and Twitter and all of that.
Terrific, and we will include that in the show notes. The final thing we'll wrap with is when we have interesting people on the podcast, we like to talk to other interesting people. So
Mm.
typically talk to investors or founders of scalable ventures. Who would you, Stacey, like to nominate as a future guest of the Form Your Own podcast?
Fantastic. Oh man, I know so many people that would be great for this. So we've got a couple of venture investors that are super interesting and worthwhile people to talk to. We're part of the pod fund portfolio with TechNexus, and I I definitely think that it would be worthwhile to talk to Andy over there about
Andy.
his about his, how he looks at these companies within a tech portfolio.
Awesome. Well, Andy, you have been nominated as a future guest. Stacey, thanks so much for taking your time, and we will look forward to following up with you. Maybe we can get an introduction to Andy, and we look forward to following your journey.
Yeah, thanks so much. Appreciate it.